What's going on, guys? Jordan here with prescript.com. We're going to go over a quick core progression today to help better build stability that'll carry over into our main lifts. Now, a lot of time when we train core, we put that lumbar spine through flexion extension. We put it through trunk rotation or go through hip flexion. As outlined, the individual muscles of the core, your internal oblique, your external oblique, your transverse abdominis, your rectus abdominis, they all have functions listed from shortening muscle from origin to insertion. But when we're training, when we're squatting, when we're deadlifting, we're trying to make that core as rigid or as stable as possible. So it's not about building strength, it's about progressing a stimulus of instability so we can actually resist movement under greater force of instability. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through 3 movements to scale up into an ab wheel. Now, an ab wheel is a very popular exercise, but it's very commonly done incorrectly, because the idea of the ab wheel is all these movements are going to be an anti-extension exercise. So we're going to scale up the stimulus of extension using our own body's levers. So we're going to start with a plank. We're going to move on to the GHR, and then we're going to use the ab wheel at the end once we've scaled our levers out to that end point when we're ready for that ab wheel movement. So we'll start off with the plank and then we'll progress. So the first movement we're going to go through is just a standard plank. Now we got to think, the role of this exercise is an anti-extension exercise. So we don't want that low back to go into extension. We don't need it to go into excessive flexion, because that's not a position we want to find ourselves in when we're squatting or deadlifting either. So what we want to do, palms flat on the floor, elbows under the shoulders, and then we think, so this is extension. You just want to resist extension. All right, guys, the second exercise we're going to go through is the GHR sit-up. Now, the conventional sit-up puts the lumbar spine from neutral position into flexion, but what we want to do is we want to use this to scale our body's lever to increase the amount of extension we need to resist. So there's not going to be that flexion extension moment in the low back like a conventional sit-up, but what we're going to do, so we're going to start just with make a fist, wrap it in the other hand, put it right over our belly button. Now we want to keep that rib cage tucked down as we just hinge at the hips. Now we're resisting that need to go into further extension. So what we want to do is just fist over the belly button and back up. So lumbar spine stays neutral. Then what we can do over time is slowly start to scale our body's levers. So right over the belly button, within our base of support, very centered. Then as we start to bring the hands up into the overhead position, that'll be the graduation process when we go into the third exercise. So we want to get this full overhead and up. So the whole time we're just resisting extension rather than going through flexion extension. It's the idea of building stability rather than building strength. Once we're overhead, then we can progress on to our third and final progression. All right, so this is our final movement of the progression. This is going to be the ab wheel. So we scaled up using the GHR. We started with the planks. Now we're going to get fairly dynamic with it. So we're going to be incrementally increasing that load of extension on the lower back that we need to resist the further this bar rolls away from us, right? So what we're going to do is kind of grab the bar at shoulder height, try and hollow from the upper back, tuck the pelvis underneath, and we're just going to resist extension the entire time. Now the idea is you don't want to come all the way back to neutral and go through that moment of flexion of the lumbar spine, just resisting extension the entire time. So the ab wheel is the last movement through the progression. You get a good carryover into your main lifts. All right, guys, so that's the core progression, going through increasing the moment of extension on the lower back in order for our core to be stable. Again, we're not really worried about strength, going through that stretch and contract, stretch and contract. We're trying to get through a more applicable range of motion, a more applicable force load that's going to transfer over into our main lifts or squat and our deadlift. Like when we're squatting, at no point are we trying to think tucking the rib cage down and flexing the lumbar spine. So it's all about what's going to give us the most bang for our buck as far as core exercises go. So we're going to slowly build that progression, planks up to a minute, then we're going to start to scale our body's levers on the GHR. Then when we're ready, we're going to move on to the ab wheel. So if you guys like the video, make sure to share and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below.